Hi, I'm Cass and this is Honey.
And we're regular Canadians enjoying weed. And we are here with David Malmo-Levine, a cannabis activist who has honestly done a crazy amount for the Canadian and worldwide cannabis fight. And you've got a crap ton of knowledge, and I'd like you to just like somehow transfer it to
Radiate it to us.
Just at fast speed, just give it all. I need all the answers.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Go!
Everything you need to know to turn a pot from a hard drug into a soft drug is available on my websites, potfacts.ca, pot-shot.ca, and herbmuseum.ca.
And check him out. He has so much information and long time activist. The world owes him a lot. Tell us a bit about your history with cannabis.
Okay. I visited Holland in 1989, and I realized, wow, this is so civilized. This makes so much sense. Canadians could handle this much freedom, and that'd be a good thing. And then I read The Emperor Wears No Clothes in 1992 and realized, whoa, this whole tree of life thing is a real thing. Cannabis reintroduced into our economy could help us turn into a sustainable species, and it could end scapegoating, and it could give everyone a good job with no boss, and the effects would be so profound. I've got to devote my life to this. So in 93 I started organizing civil disobedience, and in 95 Mark Emery flew me out here to Vancouver to be a professional rabble-rouser instead of an amateur one. So I stepped up my game. In 96 I went to I got charged with dealing and out of the harm reduction club and open out of the closet pot dealer club. 2004 I opened up the HUGS school, which again was an educational effort to teach people about the historical context of the drug war. Got busted again, went to jail for 4 months for that, and now I'm writing a book on the history of reefer madness for the Cannabis Museum in Ohio. And I just completed writing Vansterdam Comix and getting that published, and we're working on Skid Row Comics, which is like a hard drug activist comic book, seeing what sort of harm reduction is going on with the opiate crisis. And I'm writing a history of CIA drug trafficking, the first 8 chapters of which are already online at George Herbert Walker Bush, biggest period, drug lord period, ever period. And you can read those right now if you Google that.
That is amazing. And honestly, the work with harm reduction is so important, especially in today's society where the opioids are basically ruining lives all over. And it's so amazing that a plant can be so helpful.
Overregulation of cannabis right now rests upon the myth of reefer madness 2.0, which is cannabis harms the young and the poor. It harms the young, making kids stupid and crazy if they smoke it. And if you look at the science behind that claim, it's fraudulent. If you go to potfacts.ca, you'll see a lot of the counter evidence to that, all collected in one place. Can I tell you my first time buying hash in Edmonton, 14 years old?
Definitely.
So I go to what was called Beaver Hills back then.
Oh my God!
You know where this is?
Beavers.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, we want to hear more.
Okay, so it's called Beaver Hills, then they got rid of the hills and they called it Beaver Flats. But anyway, back when it was Beaver Hills, I go and I'm 14, I'm on my bike, and I look around and I couldn't find anybody. Finally, there's this black guy with big muscles, no shirt, and he smiles at me. I was like, hash? And he's like, he nods, and then he takes a 2-chip, which was 2 grams, out from his lip, where he was hiding it, in case the cops would come, he could swallow it. He takes the 2-chip, he's on 1 gram or 2, and I was like, just 1. So I only had $20. So he broke it in half and gave me the small piece, and I was ecstatic that I had this little less than a gram full of spit on it, black market hashish. I scored all on my own. I bike back to my friends on the south side. I was like, ah, man, it's so dry. I mean, this hash I bought is so dry. And they were also thrilled to smoke this spitty hash with me. But yeah, that's typical of the black market for teens, because everyone's scared of dealing to teens, so only the people who have nothing to lose generally the ones that deal to teens. And then you have all this black market problems that come with a sub-quality, potential contaminants, potential adulterants, and things that, I once bought what I thought was hash, ended up to be black bark gum when we were doing knife hits. It was like, what the? No, and then I also bought a joint across the street at Victory Park in the 90s, and it ended up being shake and a little mushroom. Which you can, I looked it up.
Super safe. That's way better.
I looked it up in Christian Ratch's The Encyclopedia of Psychoactive Plants or Psychoactive Substances, and he says you can smoke mushrooms, but you shouldn't.
Not when you think you're buying weed.
When you think you're buying weed and you get shaken mushroom.
Okay.
You know, so the black
Okay.
market sometimes is super sketchy, and you don't. And that's where the only place where a teen might encounter hard drugs is if they're forced to buy it on the black market. And so you can solve all those problems at once by following the Senate's recommendations, following Margaret Mead's recommendations, is to give the teens somewhere to buy their pot. And 15 and under, if it was parental and doctor supervised weed use and they had to keep their grades up and they had to mow the lawn, I'm sure everyone would be happier in that situation than the current one where teens are unfairly stigmatized, hemp is overregulated, and only the rich millionaires can grow and sell pot. That's not the legalization I spent 25 years of my life fighting for. Yeah.
I think it would be amazing if they just like opened up the market and allowed small business to thrive. So some grandma at home could be making her A+ banana bread and selling slices on the side of the road.
That's what we do at our farmers markets 2 or 3 times a year, sometimes 4 times a year in Vancouver. We have these farmers markets and we agree to hug the person who's getting arrested and not let go. And then the police have to beat us up in front of everybody, all these witnesses and on camera, on the day we decide to protest, or they leave us alone. Either way they lose. The only time we lose is if we don't attempt it. So this hug power, nonviolent arrest resistance, don't touch the police, don't say anything impolite to the police, but just get in their way. Do not make it easy for them to arrest us when we're protesting. Go up to the person getting busted and give them a hug.
And everybody likes a hug.
Well, they see, that person has sacrificed their own safety and their own freedom to help out someone who shouldn't be getting arrested in the first place. And intuitively, even if you're like scared of pot and pro-drug war, intuitively that whole one scapegoat defending another scapegoat thing, that feels better than those people getting arrested, and automatically you win people over that way. And even the cops have realized bad optics are bad optics. Like there was this Grasstown smoke-in and street jamboree in Vancouver in '71. It was like the first real smoke-in in Vancouver, and cops rode in on horseback and they beat everybody up. And they were suddenly, the Grasstown riots, they were suddenly the bad guys on the front cover of every newspaper in Canada. And they have since learned not to beat up peaceful people in front of cameras. And then dealers feel safer and they come out, and then the crowds get bigger because there's like a cannabis farmers market going on there. So that is a way we've been able to resist this sort of oppression, have our own days where we demonstrate what our legalization would look like. And it's grown to the point where there's like 150,000 attendees, and we can hire Cypress Hill to play by just getting money from all the vendors that attend.
Peacefully participating in a farmer's market,
Never
listening
had
to
a problem.
Cypress Hill, sharing around joints.
We've had 2 fights in 25 years, both drunk people.
Yeah.
And we have always had enough security to get them to stop.
I loved reading in your amazing book and hearing you say again that when captured on film, they see police fighting and trying to stop peaceful people enjoying weed, hugging to protest, gathering in this way. The police know that the public will see the hypocrisy of the situation. They even know themselves like how ridiculous this unwinnable fight against a plant, let alone every other drug, is. And so they don't, you're exactly right. Like when it's filmed, when there's a big group of people, they don't fight back, and then we win. But by trying to do it in the shadows, the way they arrested you, not in a public setting, all of these things are choices because our fight, our argument stands up. Our argument stands up. Like, it's a healthful plant that can be so positive for so many people.
It's not just a major issue, it is the major issue. It's our co-evolutionary plant partner, and human beings are not going to survive. Forest fire season is going to get longer and longer every year until it's
the whole planet.
It's half a year at a time, and we need our co-evolutionary plant partner. We need the tree of life back in our own gardens to live, and people have to realize it's the issue that we need to solve, and it opens the doors for so many other issues to be solved if we solve this one. But if we don't solve this one, we're doomed. Cannabis is the number one of all herbal medicines because it has over 100 cannabinoids, over 200 terpenes. None of them are toxic. All of them are medically effective. We know what about 12 do. So we need more research into this. We need less overregulation on cannabis. We need to treat it like a soft drug. Teens are dying of overdoses, drug and alcohol overdoses. They're dying of suicide and they're dying of car crashes. Cannabis, safe cannabis points of sale for teens, places they can buy it and smoke it. So even taking the Senate's recommendations of 16 and older, that would help us remove the red tape on industrial hemp. And it would help those teens what they're really dying of. What they aren't suffering from is psychosis due to cannabis, because psychosis rates haven't increased.
Yeah.
Even though cannabis use rates between the 70s and the 90s increased five times.
Yeah.
We don't see a corresponding increase in psychosis or a dip in IQ. So we know that's bunk, we know that's just a bunch of BS. All of the activists in the world need to concentrate now on legalizing it, not just for the old and the rich, but also for the young and the poor, everywhere it happens. Otherwise, our rights could be rolled back. The same sort of arbitrary, irrational bunk science used to demonize pot so the young can't use it and the poor can't grow it, deal it. That sort of irrationality could just increase and more people could be excluded.
Well, I mean, you have provided years of activism, and I hope that everybody hears your message because it's an important one. It's a call to action for everybody to pay attention to what's going on in legalization. And honestly, thank you so much for being on our show and for all you've done. And we'll be quietly stalking you.
Yeah, sure. I'm on Facebook. Anytime anyone has a question, usually drug history or drug policy, I'm good at those. And yeah,
we can't wait to see your book.
Oh, I can't wait to show it to you. Reefer Madness, Reefer Madness 1895 to the present. That's the title I'm working on. Yeah, so that'll come out hopefully within a year.
Well, good luck to you on your book, and
thank you.
Good luck on your journey.
I can read it as soon as I finish reading. Do we have my?
Oh yeah, here.
There is it
Check
somewhere.
this out.
I've already,
Comic books, kids. Everyone likes comic books.
And you're really going to like this comic book. It's full of great information.
You can get it online. You can order it at weedsgg.ca. It's like on the third page of the for sale stuff. And yeah, it's a history of drugs with 100 pages on CIA drug trafficking and the rest mostly pot.
And seriously, I so highly, but I do really highly recommend this. Like I said, I think a lot of people who've grown up in Prohibition era and in even more prohibitive places, some of this stuff is truly, literally mind-blowing, like realizing that we live in the Matrix and that like all the conspiracies are true and like all that stuff,
That's a green pill.
Like it is. It really is.
Each page is like a stained glass window. Each one is a work of art, and there's 420 of them in there. So there you go.
Yeah, you have to check this out. You have to educate yourself on David Malmo-Levine. This has been the best ever, honestly.
And puff tough and keep your heads held high. It's a dignity battle, and they can't take it from you. You can only hand it to them. So.
Beautiful advice. Thank you so much, David. And thank you, Canada, for watching. And don't forget to enjoy responsibly.
And don't drive high.
Well, don't drive impaired. You can drive relaxed, hungry, and happy. Just don't drive impaired.
Memes about people are always asking like, where's the dealer? Like, where's the good? Not how's the dealer? How am I? And now it's the same. It's like, we'll hug you. We'll support you.
The dealer is the person in your neighborhood.
Yeah.